Houston, the Hawk has landed. This is one small step for man, one giant leap for college radio.
You're listening to 90.3 WMSC, Upper Montclair, New Jersey.
Oh, hello, Facebook and radio listeners. I didn't see you there.
Or hear you.
Or hear you there. I couldn't do my Facebook joke because we just went live. Welcome, everybody. This is 90.3 WMSC, Upper Montclair, New Jersey. In case you just woke up, just tuned in, congrats, we just started the show. My name is Ryan Trick, joined today by Amanda Marina and Kyle Pepitone.
Did you say Marina? It's Marino.
Marino.
Right?
Amanda Marina's close enough. I'm still waking up. I got some V8 today, swapping out the tea for some fruity juices. Today is May 11th, and this Mother's Day, or this past weekend, wow, my brain's still starting up. This past weekend was Mother's Day, so happy Mother's Day to everybody who celebrated. What did you guys do this weekend?
Just hung out with some family, just hung out with some family. I mean, that's what we did. I got to see some family that I hadn't seen in a while. Like, we kind of did like a drive-by thingy, just to see them.
Oh, that's awesome.
But, yeah, I just wanted to see them even for a little bit because it's been like 3 months now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Been a while in quarantine, so
hoping that we could all get together again soon.
Yeah. Fantastic.
We played Monopoly.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, no, that's the game that ends
Kyle.
relationships.
And I'm proud to announce we are all still alive and well.
Good.
That's good.
Nobody left quarantine out of Monopoly frustration. That's always a positive.
My dad just bought no properties and still lost.
Did you what was I gonna say? Did you guys play for like 7 hours or something? Because that's how I always whenever I play with family, it's always a 7-hour game.
What? Wait, how long?
No, I'm kidding.
Okay, I was gonna say.
But we didn't play till the end. We went for maybe an hour and a half, and then we're like, all right, count it up.
Nah, you always gotta play till the end, till there's one
I think I remember the last
standing.
time I played. When I played with my aunt when I was little, we went for all day. We left, came back, ate. We went and ate dinner, and then we came back to finish the game. And
we also started at 8, 9 o'clock. So.
Oh, true. I would have gone till 3 a.m.
Oh yeah, you always gotta play Monopoly till the end. But anyways, we got a great show for you guys today. Looking at the script, Amanda and I realized that we have a lot of food stories for you today. So if you're hungry, break out some toaster waffles because we are going to be talking about a pizza shop. We are going to throw in something about Disney. We got some very angry ice cream wanting folk. We got all kinds of good stuff for you today. But of course, before we get into all that, Kyle Pepitone, as I said, is filling in for Jeremy Wall today, giving us the newscast. So Kyle, what's going on in the world?
All right. Well, according to NPR, Treasury Secretary Steven Mnuchin stated that the nation's unemployment number will, quote, get worse before they get better, end quote. On Friday, the Labor Department's report showed that the United States had lost 20.5 million jobs last month. The report fails to include those not currently searching for a job or those labeled unemployed. The New York Times reported that Prime Minister Boris Johnson will impose a mandatory quarantine on arriving travelers. This is Britain's attempt to be more cautious while planning to reopen after a 7-week-long quarantine. Mr. Johnson softened his stay-home decree to stay alert. Residents are now allowed to exercise outside and return to work if they cannot work from home. In New Jersey, 8 cemeteries run by the Archdiocese of Newark allowed friends and family to visit their loved ones. This was part of the Archdiocese's plan to start holding a number of services again. The cemeteries will be open during limited hours every day of the week, starting on May 18th. This is their first time opening since March 23rd. And this morning, actor-comedian Ben Stiller tweeted, quote, I'm sad to say that my father, Jerry Stiller, passed away from natural causes. He was a great dad and grandfather, and the most dedicated husband to Anne for about 62 years. He will be greatly missed. Love you, Dad. End quote. Actor and comedian Jerry Stiller, who rose to prominence on the hit TV sitcom Seinfeld, was 92 years old when he passed away. And in the sports world, recently a large number of MLB employees have participated in a study related to the coronavirus. ESPN writes that 60 of the nearly 6,000 participants tested positive for coronavirus antibodies. Dr. Jay Bhattacharya, a professor of medicine, stated, quote, "I was expecting a larger number. It shows the value of doing the science as opposed to guessing," end quote. The test revealed that around 70% of those tested positive for the antibodies had shown no symptoms of the coronavirus. And on to weather here in Manalapan. It is currently 50 degrees and rainy. Boo. We have a high of 60 degrees and a low of 39 degrees. A 10% chance of rain throughout the rest of the day, 12-mile-per-hour winds, and a sunset at 8:03 p.m.
I am looking at the forecast for the week in my area too, and it is equally bad. Where did the nice weather go? I was
It's
so
what are
hanging
you
on to
talking
that
about?
like
My weather in my area is like 60s and 70s all week. What are you talking about?
What?
what? How did? That's not fair.
There's like a few days of
Send
rain,
it
but other
this
than
way.
that,
It is
Yeah, like-
today. I'm
nothing but
looking
we
rain
at
and
go, we go.
in the
There you go.
Bernardsville area. I'm looking at what does that say? 100% chance of rain today. What is this?
Oh.
And like
I think
50s
it
for
said
the rest of
mine's
the week.
raining right now, and I gotta like, and it's gonna probably end soon, like in an hour or so. I don't know.
It's ridiculousness. But
Whatever.
anyways, I'm still waiting for that 75-degree weather to come back.
Oh,
I'm
I know.
hanging
It's
on
coming.
to it
It's
from
coming
like
soon.
2
I mean,
weekends ago.
you gotta realize we would have just been finishing classes now if we were
Yeah.
still at school, and it's usually only just starting to get nice at this time. So
And you know what they say, April shower. Nope,
April
never mind.
showers.
I
That's-
screwed.
that's
I
May
messed up
shower.
the saying.
it's
Yeah.
May showers.
May showers bring April flowers? No.
I messed up the saying.
No, he had it right. April
No, I
showers
know.
bring
I'm
May
saying,
flowers.
but like it's raining so much in May too already that it's like May
Yeah.
showers.
April
In my
showers
head, it
bring
was
more
May
showers
showers.
in May.
April and May showers bring maybe flowers in June.
Bring maybe flowers. Now it'll probably just rain
Oh.
and be 60s all summer, and then we'll have like a half winter again because New Jersey
I
weather.
love half
Anyways,
winter.
yes, we do have. We always like talk about Disney on the Buzz, and
Because I wonder why.
yeah, because of this one. So Amanda, what's happening with Disney?
So, for people that didn't know, all the theme parks across the globe, which there's a lot of them, have all been closed due to the coronavirus. So, actually, after 3.5 months of closure, following the initial outbreak of COVID-19, Shanghai Disneyland has reopened its doors. Here's a little
Ayo.
video from CNN talking about showing what they're doing for safety measures.
We can see there. Basically, everybody is wearing masks. You can also see they're pretty much wiping down everything.
There's not a lot of people there either. Like there's some
Yeah,
people,
and
but there's just not a lot
very
of people.
few people. But it is nice to see all the rides starting back up.
Well, especially too because it's unfortunate because a lot of in a lot of these phased openings, arts and entertainment are the last thing that opens back up because they're just so hard and complicated to open up. So like
Yeah.
not even just Disney, but think about any theme park, even going to the boardwalk or something.
Yeah.
Someone has to be constantly cleaning down those ride vehicles. It's not like as easy as like, all right, you're sitting at a table, you clean off the table, the next person comes and sit at a table. Like you have to do it every single time. And there's usually crowds of like 100,000 people in a theme park, and like how do you control that? So right now the park is operating as it started to open is 30% capacity. So that's very
Wow.
low numbers.
Yeah, that's crazy low.
And
That's
so
still
basically
a lot of people you gotta
what-
think though.
Yeah.
why it's so important that we know about Shanghai too is because the outbreak happened there first, and then came to it came to Europe, and then it came to the US. So we have to look at it like this is how we're planning out our schedule for our Disney parks to be open, but it's also talking about like how the rest of the globe will start to like, I guess, like open up in a sense, because if we see some things starting to open up in other places, it kind of gives us hope, but we also have to realize they waited 3.5 months for certain things to be open. So so when you come to the park, you have to actually buy out your ticket ahead of time. You can't just show up the day and say like, hey, I'm coming in today. You have to pre-plan the trip. You also, when you get to the gate, have to show a QR Shanghai health code, which is the government's color-coded way of contact tracing to determine potential exposures. There's also people speaking on the loudspeakers to talk about guests to walk, not run. And also periodically there's an announcement that runs that says, hey, like, please make sure you're social distancing and you keep your face masks on at all times. Based on the CNN article, they also said that all the rides and attractions are open except for the children's play areas and other interactive attractions that tend to involve like the touching of something. And there will be like little like taped off marks on the ground. I saw some of them in some of the videos that they had where they tape out where you have to stand on lines and such, so you can be 6 feet away from somebody. And last thing about the parks too is that guests can no longer hug their favorite characters. So you have to see them from a distance or get like a selfie from them in a distance.
Yeah, which is fair.
So
just to clarify earlier, this is in the outbreak happened in Wuhan, but in general,
in
we're
general,
talking
it
about
happened
the
more
China,
in that area first. Then it went over to like the yeah. I wasn't saying specifically it started there. No,
in general, we're discussing China.
Yeah. So I don't know. What do you guys think about this? Because this is obviously going to have major impact for all arts and entertainment, like venues and theme parks and stuff around the globe.
I hope, first and foremost, I hope that people don't use this as an excuse to start opening or a lot of parks and stuff back open all over the world. I think people need to see how they're opening this and how they're like, because they're doing it on a schedule. You know, like they're relatively speaking, it's better in China than it was, and you know that's why they're reopening it. I really hope that they don't or that a lot of other theme parks don't use this as an excuse almost to say, oh well, if we open it like minimum capacity or whatever, we can still have people come, because not really. Not here in the US.
It worries me because like I said, I'm a Disney fanatic, and I have been reading about all this stuff. Actually, I didn't talk about this in this article, but in our US parks, Disney is opening Disney Springs, which is the shopping and restaurant venue, on May 20th. So that's soon. And they told people kind of online that they're doing this. So it's like telling people, giving them enough of time in advance. I mean, I'm not going to go fly or drive down there just to go to some shopping and restaurants. Not even all of them are open. But I think some people are like eager to get back, because like I'm in all these groups and stuff, and people are like, I have my tickets, I'm going back on a plane on June whatever or July whatever. I'm like, I'm not getting anywhere near any of these theme parks for a very long time.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat
I'll
as you.
let some people test it out first and then see what happens. As much as I love it, and as much as I love any theme park, or like I said, this goes with any entertainment venue as well, like theaters and concerts. That all has to do in the same phase of when these things are going to open. And I don't know if I'll be going to any of those things for a while, because I'm just I can trust myself, but I don't trust other people. So
yeah, I like asking people kind of this question. If somebody said the pandemic ends tomorrow, here are 2 free concert tickets to your favorite artist, would you go? And
no.
Yeah, a surprising amount of people that I ask say absolutely not.
I honestly don't think we're going to be the only ones.
If the pandemic ended tomorrow, I would not go to a concert. A lot of people are saying that.
Think how the artist must feel too. I mean, I don't think the artist would want to necessarily, like, as much as they're going to want to make money, obviously, and like travel and see fans, are they really going to want to be you know,
Yeah.
there every night
A
on
lot of
stage in hotel
mean-
rooms that are like, I don't know where the what's going on in the hotel
It
rooms.
is
you
a
know,
bit different from the band's perspective, at least to me, because the audience is all packed together. They're on that stage. They're pretty much separated from themselves. Like during the actual concert, they're not as
but I mean, here's the
compact
other
as-
thing though.
yeah.
You also have to realize there's people that are backstage
True.
helping run the show.
like the entire crew.
And like, if you, I don't know if you guys kept up on that kind of stuff, but I know like certain bands, like the Zach Brown band, he fired or furloughed his whole entire crew because he couldn't afford to keep them during this time. So he has to bring everybody back, and then you have to be sure that all those people aren't sick when they're all coming from like households that you don't know.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's, I mean, obviously you could maybe know some of your crew members really well, but at the same time, nobody really knows because it's last 2 weeks before it gets into somebody. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, but the one thing I did want to ask you guys, going back to this Disney thing, is, so what do you think about this QR Shanghai health code? I mean, obviously we do not have anything like that in the U.S. So
I think that's awesome. Yeah, I think that's pretty cool. I'm gonna be honest.
awesome.
I think it's cool. It's cool. We've been seeing technology advancements in technology during this time, like especially in health technology and accessibility to health technology. And I mean, I think that that's just cool. Like having a
No, I know that you
QR
could
code.
tell. Yeah.
Yeah, to tell, like for easy access. I think we're gonna start seeing that a lot more.
I don't know if we'll ever go
Especially-
for it though, like in the US. Like I think people would just have too many problems with it being privacy issues.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, people complain about their privacy for everything. They're like, "Oh, whatever,
Yeah.
Facebook is stealing my name and address when I posted it online for everybody to see." Whatever. Deal with your own. di- Read here's my message to anybody who has privacy issues with any social media. Don't use social media. Sorry.
There you go.
There it is.
Don't
I'm
do
not-
that challenge where you're supposed to put your yearbook picture.
Yeah, exactly. Don't do the challenge where it's like, hey, post your yearbook photo
Yeah,
and
we
the
talked
name
about
of
that
your
on the Buzz,
first
like-
pet and your aunt's maiden name. Like, those aren't challenges. Those are literally people just asking for security questions.
I
It does
think-
not take that high of an IQ to figure it out. This is why I worry for the future of humanity. Anyways,
I think otherwise, to like kind of wrap up this story a little bit,
I think it's cool.
I think it's
whole
cool, but
QR code thing.
I also think just they're doing a good job. I do want to mention a point that I saw online, which was Disney has been closed for a long time right now, and Disney actually makes I don't know if you guys knew this, but Disney makes 40% of their profits through the theme parks, and all
Right.
their parks are closed right now, except now Shanghai's open. So the
And
problem
it's only
is
open
like,
at 30% too. which
exactly.
is-
So they're not getting a lot, and they think about it, they still have to pay their cast members that are working there. So I just want you guys to note too, or any listeners out there, Disney obviously can do whatever they want. They could open as long as the governor says or whoever says they're allowed to open, they're technically allowed to open. But they're kind of remain closed because I'm pretty sure the phase 2 is the plan that they could actually start opening in like Florida and stuff. And they're kind of keeping it down low and just deciding whenever. And the thing is, if Disney's closed, they're like a very big moneymaker, as everybody knows. Like they try to own like every TV company, every movie company. That should know that they're really concerned about people's safety.
Yes.
And I think that at
Right.
the end of the day is really important because a lot of people think maybe the company like that doesn't care, but they do because they're not open right now. And they're not planning to be open anytime soon in the US. Like they haven't released anything. They really want to, the stores that are going to open in Disney Springs are not owned by Disney. They're all stores that are like third-party companies. So it's
Yeah.
just something to keep in mind that like they do want to look out for your safety and stuff. If you still don't feel safe, don't do anything. It's anything around the country right now. If you don't feel safe getting into your car and going to the store, don't do it. That's just how it is. And I think that's just important to keep in mind. So yeah.
But again, like I said, I think it's. I hope that we see the whole QR health code to kind of track people coming up in America.
Yeah.
Deal with privacy issues yourself. But
Exactly.
Take this
Like you
seriously.
don't go on social media, like you said.
Yeah, exactly. You don't want to use the QR health code if it ever comes here. Don't use it. Just don't complain about it.
But getting
Speaking of
around,
reopening,
I was gonna say, getting off topic of Disney, but talking about food.
which is a favorite topic I've noticed on any show that I'm on. I think I bring food with me where I
Because you're just
go.
hungry when you're doing the broadcast. I think
I'm
that's it.
always hungry. That's
Don't
Did you
my
have your
problem.
Did you have
That's
your
my
toaster waffles
secret,
this morning?
Amanda. I did not have my toaster waffles this morning. Thus is
Ryan, don't you
problem.
host a food-based talk show for this radio station?
Shh. Hush, Kyle.
That's the real reason why he took it on.
Well, so look, I like food. I'm also an ice cream guy, more of a gelato fan, but apparently loads of people in Cape Cod are ice cream fans. And in fact, one day after reopening, the ice cream parlor in Cape Cod closed again because the employees were harassed by people. For those of you who are listening on iHeartRadio or on terrestrial
Ryan is
radio on
very upset. I feel like he
90.3,
might go into a rant again.
and you
I don't
can't
know.
see me,
His
I
face
am
is turning red.
I am rubbing my eyes and my head because people blow my mind. Um,
This poor place.
so yeah, in Cape Cod, the place is called Polar Cave Ice Cream Parlor in Mashpee, Cape Cod. The owner, Mark Lawrence, told Boston 25 News that he wanted to stay open, or that he wanted to quietly open a shop on Friday to kick off Mother's Day weekend. However, uh, the customers were harassing the workers so much that not only did they close, but also he said, "quote One of my best workers quit yesterday, being the day they opened. At the end of her shift, she stuck it through her shift though. But the words she was called and the language you wouldn't even say in a men's locker room, and to say it to a 17-year-old kid, they should be ashamed of themselves." End quote.
It doesn't put it past me at all because this happens all the time. We've seen this in grocery stores. We've seen this with like medical staff. Like people are just rude. Like
Yeah,
people are awful. And it's like, at this time, this is the time we should be really being nice to each other because you truly never know what someone's going through. But also at the same time, we're all fighting this together. We're all in this together, guys. So chill out. Realize you're not the only one that needs your food or your ice cream is such an essential thing. Go to the grocery store and get ice cream.
Get Ben and Jerry's or something instead of, like, if you really want ice cream, come on. And he had a system in place too. So they
that people just don't. They think they're above the rules. They don't think they have to follow like a system. They don't have to.
So to kind of clarify the story, they were it was posted on social media when they opened, saying that all orders had to be placed an hour in advance, and you had to, I believe, either call it in or post or do your order online. Look, everybody has one of these. I'm holding up my cell phone at the moment to the camera. It's this newfangled piece of technology called a cellular device. If you have one attached to your wall in the kitchen with one of those, irritating twisty cords, you can use that too. It's not that difficult.
People just really want themselves to be the front of attention and just this is not like anything new. This is like something that's been going on for years. I used to work before I worked in a grocery store and did some of that stuff, I used to work in retail. So I worked in like clothing stores. I know, I did it like a few times too. The first place I ever worked was Flynn and O'Hara, which is the uniform store for like kids that go to private and Catholic schools. So basically I remember a lot of issues. Like sometimes we'd close at like 8:00. People would call us on the phone first of all and they'd say, "Hey, where are you located?" I'm like, I tell them the address and they're like, "Well, how do you get there? Can you direct me?" And I'm like, there's something called Google.
A GPS.
There's something called a GPS. If you have enough money to send your kid to private and Catholic schools, I'm sure you have enough money for a GPS or a cell phone.
No. If you're calling, not even that, just if you're calling me on a cell phone, cell phones have it.
But my favorite story of all time was one time this woman was so mad that we closed at 8 and it was 8, like 7:59, 8, and we shut the door. And she was banging outside the door and said, "Let me in. I drove here. I want to be here." And she then called corporate on us because she was so upset that we weren't helping her. But talk about ice cream and uniforms. First world problems.
First world problems,
I
man.
mean,
I don't get it.
come on. I mean, like, you could come another day to get your ice cream. You can come another day to get your uniform. Guess what? That's not my fault if you come at closing or you don't follow the rules. People want to be treated like they are the top and best.
Yeah. I mean, I had this whole like I had a similar experience. I got Chipotle the other day, and Chipotle's doing online ordering and whatnot, and some dude walked up. Thankfully, he did not freak out because I feel like I tried to help diffuse the situation, but he was gonna walk into the store, and thankfully he noticed he didn't have a mask on. Thankfully he noticed that everybody was like standing outside, and I think one dude walked into the store because you could wait in the store, just a lot of people weren't. If you had a mask, and he was like, "Well, why? Well, do I have to order online?" And we were all like, "Yeah, it's you got to place your orders online or through the app." And he's like, got all like uppity and like grumpy. And the old man just wants his tacos, but like it's all over everywhere. I'm gonna be honest. Like, assume that you have to order stuff online.
Yeah,
I don't
I mean,
understand how people aren't just
it's
assuming
so much
that at this
easier
point.
because like I know I go to Dunkin' like every day, and when I go, I use the mobile order, so I don't even have to hand them money. They just hand me my drink, so I don't even have to like interact with my card or with like my money. Like they just give me the drink and I'm done.
You
So it
barely
makes
even
it so
have to
much
stop.
easier. Yeah, so it makes it like so, and I'm taking it from a different place than they're giving it to me, so I'm not touching their hand or anything. So it works out, and they get less worried about their safety, which is great.
Exactly.
But what I think is great about this Polar Cave ice cream parlor, the guy that owns the place felt so bad for this worker that quit. He actually started a GoFundMe page for her, which is incredible. When have you ever known a boss that like just loved you so much and wanted to start a GoFundMe just because you quit, not because anything else, but he wanted her to get a good college fund.
Yeah, because the idea is she was working at the place so that she could go to college in the fall.
Right.
So the fact that, I mean, I want people to think about this. She didn't just give up because a lot of, I'm not going to generalize, but it is a trend sometimes where, older people or people older than our generation might think like, oh, these kids these days don't know how to work or whatever, etc. Um, I, they might assume that a lot of, people our age don't work hard or just work for, whatever reason. She was literally, she was, it was, the harassment was so bad. She got harassed so bad that she decided it was not worth working to go to college for, to deal with that. That's how hard these people were harassing her.
That's what I'm saying. People don't understand what people are going through. When I was working at Whole Foods, there was a girl that I'm really good friends with. She's in college. She's about the same age as me, which is a junior in college, so she's gonna be a senior. She said to me, I have to keep coming to work because my parents all got fired or furloughed or whatever. And it's like, you really truly do not know what someone's going through. I'm very fortunate to have my mom still working. To have my mom still working and still have food on my table, but you don't know what people are going through. And this time you don't know if people are having health issues or just anything. So I think you just need to be genuinely nice to people. You could, if you want to talk bad about the people later, go ahead, talk about them later when you're in your car. But they don't need that hate in their day, especially when this is all definitely emotionally and mentally draining.
Yeah. It's crazy. I don't get it. Just be nice to people. We'll end the story with that. Just be
Sorry, we
nice
could go on
people.
a rant for a while about being nice.
I love going on rants.
I know Ryan does, but like Ryan, like we also have to look at the good and everything, right? Like,
yes,
'cause you love the good news, so you just gotta keep going.
There's nothing gooder. That's a word. I do words good. There's nothing more gooder than cocktails.
Wow, that was a segue right there.
That's a segue right there.
So as you guys all know, restaurants are doing takeout, but that's not excluding
typically online. Nudge,
Okay,
nudge.
typically online, or you can call, or you could
Yeah.
come up and then you could give them your order or whatever. But as people know now, a lot of restaurants that were also bars and stuff are actually now allowing you to take out alcohol.
Yeah.
So this is great for a lot of people because people are like, I can't go without my alcohol. As we know, liquor stores are essential.
For
But,
whatever reason. That's a whole different topic.
There's a whole idea, though, that is going around on NJ.com that was talking about, should this be an option, like this taking out alcohol be an option when we return to like some kind of normal. But
Yeah.
that also brings up the idea of like a lot of things that we're kind of doing right now. Is that should this remain? Should this like curbside thing remain as an option for people? With specifically dealing with the alcohol, not everybody is celebrating because, as we know, there's liquor laws in place. It is illegal normally to have alcohol in your car when you're like, if you're drinking it, obviously, while you're driving, or have an open container. You're not supposed to have that. So obviously this causes worry for some people that people are going to be drunk driving and things like that. But what do you guys think about this? I mean, I'm not 21, so I don't really know.
Neither am I. So
Ryan, you're 21.
Well, I am 21. So I think it's. So here's the thing. I live in a small town. I live in Bernardsville, and there's a bar slash tavern, whatever, public house that my dad and I have been going to ever since I moved here back in like the first grade. It is.
Have you been getting a drink since first grade?
No, I have
Ryan?
not been getting a drink since the first grade. But no, it's an awesome place, and it's within walking distance. So the biggest thing for me is I completely understand to-go cocktails being a thing if people are walking. I see people walking walking around in my town without driving in my town all the time because a lot of places, the town for a lot of people is within walking distance. I do not think that in the first place, the whole to-go cocktails thing should be implemented for people who are driving. Obviously, I don't know how you would implement that. It would probably be more like an honor system that, as we know,
but
people
it's like,
probably
as
wouldn't
people know,
follow.
people break that all the time. So
Yeah, I mean, it's weird. I think that this would be fine if it were like
regulated.
If it were regulated
but
somehow.
it's not,
The problem is regulating
how
it.
is it going to get regulated though? Someone can't just stop you every like 2 feet and say, hey, like, I need to check your car. Like,
the problem is regulating it.
I did know, I want to note this. In my town, I live in Middletown, but right next to me is Union Beach, and I sometimes go in there to get some food and stuff like that. There is a restaurant that it's like a restaurant, but there's like a bar in it too. They have been selling alcohol, but they actually recently got a fine because they actually were selling sangria, but it was homemade sangria. And you're not allowed to do that because it needs to be in a closed container.
Yeah.
Of some sort. So if you're getting like a beer, it has to be in a beer bottle. It can't be like like it has to be sealed.
Right.
Yeah.
And basically, since they didn't seal it in any way, they got fined for it.
Yeah.
And so that was a whole big thing. So like obviously that's still a thing, but I don't know. Like someone could easily just take out a bottle opener and just drink it in their car.
Yeah, and I mean it's hard too. Like, you know, obviously from a consumer perspective, this can be really beneficial for, you know, people. It's easier. It kind of gives some semblance of like normal life, but also looking at it from like an economic perspective for the people who are running these businesses, the idea of doing to-go cocktails is like really important, considering, for those of you who did not know, the cost of a liquor license in New Jersey, I believe, is like $350,000 for a restaurant. If what I just pulled up on my side monitor is correct.
It's not cheap.
$350,000, and that's cheap compared to New York, which is like I think closer to $500,000.
But anyway, like I would say,
it's crazy. So like
I would say like
that's where a lot of their money comes from.
I think it's okay for now because I feel like, and I know this kind of sounds dumb, but like I feel like it's okay for now because I don't feel like anybody's going anywhere or doing anything. Like I feel like people are just like really legit just going home because there's nothing else open. There's nothing to go do. I mean, that's still not stopping from somebody to go on like a long car ride and just might drink, obviously, but I guess that's a chance we're
Yeah.
gonna have to just take.
I think that's
But-
a chance that we take naturally too. I mean,
No, yeah,
honestly,
I
if
mean,
you think
obviously
about it,
people could
just
do
the
it all the time. Yeah.
just the fact that liquor stores are still open. I mean, like, obviously
I
people are dealing with this in their own way.
yeah,
I
I
but
think right
that's
now
not a good way to deal with it.
it's okay because I think people are under a certain amount of stress that like it just I think a glass of wine sometimes really just does calm people, and I know that
And
as
it does, like I said,
yeah.
bring some semblance back. It brings back some
But
semblance
not
of
everything is
natural
gone either,
life.
too.
Yeah.
I
So,
feel
like, for example, I know my dad occasionally on Fridays, he'll get on a Zoom call with his buddies that that he plays golf with, and they'll just all sit down and have a drink on their couch through Zoom and just talk like it's happy hour. And it kind of brings
Yeah.
back some semblance of life.
Yeah, I
But
think that I agree. But I
we
think
must point out, please drink responsibly and only if you are of age.
yes,
These
yes,
stories are
yes.
not for you, college students. These stories are for the adults listening, even though I'm a college student.
I was gonna say though, with the whole dining out obviously becoming a whole thing, like we've actually implemented a lot of other like cool ideas. Ryan, you were telling me before the show that Michael's
Yes.
does curbside now.
So
the craft store. So
yeah,
like
so the first, and this is something I love talking about, is the idea of are we going to see these like improvements, I guess, in services, because I consider them improvements. The fact that the story I always tell people is around quarantine when it was first starting, I was watching, I believe it was Hulu or something, and Hulu has ads, and the first ad I saw was a Chipotle ad it was like, hey, Chipotle free delivery, now, because stay inside, don't come to our store. And I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. And then the next ad was an ad for Michael's, and it was like, to all those who want to still be creative out there during quarantine, we're doing curbside pickup and maybe delivery. And I was like, that's Michael's, that's not a food store.
well,
What?
I think
And but it's awesome.
I think it's an awesome thing because it's also saving our economy, I think, a little bit right now
Yeah.
too. I think because like business is still being open. Like, I mean, we see all these people online making these masks and stuff, and they use fabric from like Joann's, and they use
Yep.
like they need the thread and whatever, and like that's all stuff you get at a craft store, and a lot of the stuff online is through Amazon you can't get. And also this also really helps potentially mom and pop stores that would have to close. I know some of them are still closed right now because they can't handle it.
Yeah.
Some of these other stores, but I think it's a way of like kind of the future a little bit too. If you could place an online order of some sort and people don't have to wait. I mean, it's the same thing with like Grubhub or like Uber Eats or anything. Like people have just been leaving it on your doorstep. I mean, I know this is not a great way because some people are not getting the proper tip they need, but I think in a sense, why do I need to wait for somebody at the door to just hand me the item? Why can't they just leave it there? You know what I mean? When they come and drop off food. Okay,
It is a
Ryan's
good.
leaving, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay.
No,
But
sorry. Just a small, tiny emergency. Continue going.
Okay.
Okay.
I don't like that sound because that just makes me go back a few weeks ago when you just disappeared off this call with me.
No, that was. I believe you are talking about the time a wasp was in my room.
No, not that. I
No,
wasn't talking about
that
that
time.
actually. I was talking about the time when
No.
the power outage happened. Did you spill something?
No, there was a spider on my wall, and I very calmly took care of it. Moving on.
All right, Kyle, what were you gonna say? Sorry, I'm just distracted by Ryan.
Give me a second to
It's
remember.
side effects of living at home and working from home.
There you go. Anything
Boom.
can happen at
Looping
home.
it back around to COVID, like a professional. No,
Yes,
speaking
Kyle,
of mom and pop stores,
Okay, it's okay. Cut Kyle off. It's fine.
I don't remember. I think it was going to be something along the lines of like having these options once everything's implemented back to semblance of normal.
Yeah.
Because there are some people who still like to go into stores and shop, but there are also who have might have a busy schedule or something where this curbside pickup or even delivery could be very convenient for them.
I get totally think of can you imagine I don't know, you're coming from work or something and you're like, I really need I really need Sharpies to work on a project I have to do, or like glitter. I don't know. I don't know what you're working on, but my point is, if you could just put it in like right before you leave work, and you just drive to your Michael's, or you drive to this local mom and pop store, or you drive to anywhere what you need, and it's already ready for you, and they just come right out, and it's like, here you go. Like,
Yeah. I think the hardest part about this whole thing though is a lot of mom and pop stores don't have like a really well done online
yeah, I
Website?
have noticed that with a lot of things.
website.
Like, I've been wanting to support, like, I do support local businesses usually when I'm taking out food, but even like yesterday, I wanted to order from this really good cupcake place by me, and it's
Mhm.
like, it's like a local shop, and I wanted to go order, and they were closed because they can't really handle everything right now because they just don't have a proper procedure in place. And I'm like, well, that's rough, because I really wanted a cupcake, and they're really good, and I wanted to support them.
Yeah.
But they can't handle it, and it's just the same thing with a lot of these like retail stores that are more, and I think that's where it's going to be, a lot of our trouble is going to be this summer if a lot of things remain to be closed. So
Yeah. Thankfully, people still are supporting local businesses, and please continue if
yes,
you
please,
are
yes,
financially able.
trust me, all those restaurants and big time retailers will most likely still be open after this. It's going to be those really small
Yeah,
businesses
they
that are
may
going to
be
take a hit.
struggling, but they will most
They
likely still
will,
be open.
they'll be open in some capacity. They might close a store or two, but I'm telling you, those small
They'll
businesses
most
need you
likely,
more than
yeah,
ever.
exactly. And this, speaking of
Speaking of
local
small businesses,
businesses,
I hate
I
you so
love
much.
it. It's so I'm too good at this. Speaking of local businesses, I can hear Annabella rolling her eyes. So but this is a single ha from Annabella in the chat.
I think she's probably more annoyed that we both said it at the same time because I knew
Yeah.
what you were gonna say.
um
But anyway, Ryan, tell us about this small local business.
this is, like I said, and like you mentioned earlier, we do kind of enjoy talking about more positive stories, and this can kind of this can continue the conversation on supporting local businesses. So desperate times have been calling for desperate measures recently, and a pizza shop in Texas found this firsthand about a month ago. Marco's Pizza in Colony, Texas was robbed, along with several other stores in the community, um, by amateur burglars. And by amateur, I mean they literally uploaded security footage of the two men who robbed them fumbling around through drawers for several minutes, and even trying to open the safe with a pizza spatula. Um, it's fantastic. For those of you who are watching on Facebook, we have the beginning of the footage where the men are about to bust into the store. And by the way, these are very much so amateur burglars because for several reasons. One, they bust in the front of the store um, instead of the back,
I love that
and
they're wearing all, bright colors.
yeah, they're wearing all like one color, but they have masks on. Well, when I say
Uh,
they have masks on, they literally have masks on like half their face. Not safety protective masks like you all should be wearing when you go out in public. I'm talking like robbery masks.
ski
But
mask,
it
yeah.
looks like one's like not even fully on the guy's head, which makes no sense to me. Like if you're gonna go through the effort, actually wear it on your face. Whatever.
Yeah, it looks like a slight breeze might blow that one off.
Yeah, exactly. He's wearing it as like on the top of his head so he can see, but that's not the point of it, anyways. So in the video footage, they're like tearing open drawers and whatnot, and later towards the end of the footage, they find a safe under the main counter that they're doing. They do end up kicking it. I watched this video like twice. It's hilarious. For those of you who are interested in watching the footage, you can find the story on the Good News Network, where I get a lot of my stories. But anyways, so it's very clear that these guys don't necessarily know what they're doing. And this kind of reminded the store's owner, instead of taking this and by the way, they left pretty much empty handed. The store didn't have much in it. Um, this reminded the store's owner that people are getting desperate for this kind of stuff in this time. So the store's owner, I believe, I'm gonna butcher the pronunciation on this, but I believe Jamal Kahanawita was reminded of how desperate people are getting, and he actually used it as an opportunity to do some good. So recently, and this robbery happened about a month ago, recently, the store posted a message on Facebook reaching out to those who might be feeling desperate to put food on their table. And this is what the post said. Quote, in the coming months, if you find yourself in a situation unable to put food on the table for your family, please stop by our store. There is no need to be shy or embarrassed. Just speak with a manager and quietly let us know you've seen this post. We will make sure your family gets a meal. We are here because of our community, and these are very challenging times for all of us. We will do our best to help as long as we can.
I
Take
think that
care, keep washing those hands, and keep moving. And please feel free to share this post so that those who really need it may see it. End quote. That
I
was the
think
post.
this is really important. I don't Ryan, do you have Facebook? Do you use Facebook at all?
I have Facebook. I don't use it very often. I think
Okay.
this is unspeakably incredible. It
Because I
touches
was
my
no, well,
heart because I've always lived in towns that rely on small business.
because I was gonna say I use Facebook really a lot, and all the people that I'm friends with a lot, I've been seeing a lot of posts like, if you need groceries and you need my help, I will be gladly to drop it off for you. I've seen like a lot of posts like that. I've seen some of these kinds of posts. I've also seen people really looking after people that might be not in a healthy position right now too. Not even just like maybe you're older or have medical issues, but people are talking about, if you're in an abusive household, like type this and I'll come and I'll send help. And I think as much as we see a lot of bad right now, I think we are seeing truly a lot of good right now. Like
And I
this
want
pizza
to see
shop
more of
owner.
this.
No, exactly. It's amazing because you know what? This guy took a really bad situation, and luckily he didn't lose any money. Thankfully.
Yeah,
But like he took a bad
thankfully they did not know what they
situation.
were doing.
He really took a really bad situation and made it good by giving back to his community. And that's what really these small businesses are about. And that's what really people should be thinking about currently. I know even if it's the littlest thing and you feel like you're not doing anything besides Netflix, I mean, it could be so simple you don't even understand. I know my mom, I was so happy we were able to do this the other day. We got ordered too many groceries by accident. I know people were like, how did you order too many groceries? The online systems are
Ordering
weird.
online's weird. Yeah.
It
Yeah.
is. I don't know if I really love the online grocery system, but anyway, that's another topic for another day. We ordered too many bananas, and I love bananas, but it was like too many that they were gonna go bad. Like I couldn't eat all of them at once, and we got ordered too many apples too. And so I was like to my mom, I was like, well, maybe we should give some out. So we actually went to our two next door neighbors, and we gave them a whole thing of bananas and a thing of apples, and we were like, we don't need these, and they were like, oh well, no, like it's fine. And I'm like, no, but like seriously, like we're just gonna throw them out if we can't give them to people. So like, here you go. So we gave them like a
Perfect.
bag of it. And the woman next to us too, we gave them the same thing. And actually, a day or two later, she came back and left us a little gift, and the gift was 6 bottles of hand sanitizer, like the mini bottles. Her boss always gave them out to them as like little gifts before all this happened, and she had extra, so she left them in a little bag at the door for us to have. So now we have hand sanitizer. So
That's awesome. I
it's
want
really
to see
awesome.
more stories like that.
Yeah.
To everybody listening, I want to see more stories like that. I don't want to keep seeing stories of people harassing a 17-year-old for trying to pay for college at an ice cream store. Like,
Mhm.
come on. This is awesome. Um, this is also a quick shout out to Annabella's her daughter's old soccer coach. Uh, I believe his name is David Vasilenko. I don't know. Annabella can feel free to pop in to correct me on that. But
You got it
Mr.
right.
Yeah, that's correct. Mr. Pequanek. Yeah, I don't know how to pronounce towns. Um, he's been running contest raffles, scavenger hunts, and everything to A, keep spirits up, B, provide meals for families in need, and C, provide support and meals for the local hospital workers, which is awesome. So I love hearing stories like that, and I want to hear from more people like
Yeah,
that.
it's nice to see. I definitely saw even another post where um people wanted to thank healthcare workers and they were giving pizza and doing things like that
Yeah.
and buying pizza for them, and because these people are working really hard right now, and
Like
there
you're
should just be a way to appreciate them. I've been seeing it everywhere, and it's good. Like, so I know we do see these bad stories where people aren't maybe doing what they're supposed to be doing, or just trying to get out of quarantine as much as possible. But like,
yeah.
there's ways to help out. And if you don't feel like you could help out in any way, just stay home. That's the way to help out.
Like
Exactly.
my sister's boyfriend's parents both work in hospitals or
Mhm.
something in the medical field.
Yeah.
And so what she did, she and a few of her friends got together, or like not got together, but separately baked a whole bunch of food for all the workers because they're like senior hospital workers. So they baked a whole bunch of treats to give to the parents to then bring to the hospitals for the workers.
Oh,
That's
so
awesome.
nice.
Yeah.
That's really nice. Like I said, like I love hearing about it. I really do, because I think I'm hoping this kind of could change our society's attitude in a sense. Like,
Mhm.
I feel like a lot of the time we're always just going, 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 and we're focused on ourselves and nobody else, not even sometimes our family. Like, we get so wrapped up in our own life and our career and our work that we just kind of forget about doing things for others. And I think this has kind of slowed our society down a little bit, because people are like, all right, there's not much like work I could do from home, so I'm doing what I can, and then I'm done for the day and I'm watching Netflix. But like, what can I do? Use my time. And I think this is where a lot of that's coming out. And I feel like it hopefully gives us a little shift for a better outlook on our life. Like, I'm sure we will see a lot of not so great news coming out soon, just in general, because when we get back to normal, I'm sure people will have other issues that they have to get to. But I'm hoping this kind of gives us a little different outlook just for a little bit. And maybe
Right.
it'll change a little bit when we go back to some kind of normal. I don't know. That was kind of
Exactly.
my good rant today.
No, I like that. It's true. But it really is kind of having people. It's almost forcing people to like look at themselves and their family life and everything. Obviously, it's not great if for people who might be living in abusive households. There is still like places you can contact to get help with that. I mean, not
Yeah.
everywhere is closed. Um, but this is it's just nice to see. And again, I always like to say this. And again, if you're against small businesses or whatever, just feel free to angry tweet me about it
If
at
you're,
Ryan the
I
Trick.
mean,
But my opinion, which reflects myself and not that of the station, don't just please go
we
support
also have,
if you can financially. It's very good to support your small businesses.
you have to realize everybody starts somewhere, and that might be that small business and that
Yeah.
small place, and then you grow
Literally,
and you get
there were loads of places who like opened their doors for a business like 2 weeks before quarantine or a
and just
week before
and
quarantine. Like, you
like we
gotta
said
understand, this is terrible for small businesses.
like
Like,
we said
there are
ear-
2 places in my town. I was walking around my town the other day that closed. Sorry, continue.
no, it's fine. Like we said earlier too, like, don't go harass the workers, please.
Yeah, please
That
don't
too.
go
At
harass
the end
them.
of the
Come
day,
on.
it's ice cream. You can get the ice cream anywhere. I'm pretty
First
sure you could
world
actually order
problems. I mean, go
ice
to
cream on
King's.
Amazon.
Go to
I have
So
had the
ShopRite.
same. I have had the same pint of ice cream in my freezer for about maybe a month and a half now, and it's still halfway full.
Oh,
It's
but
not
it's
that
not
hard
the
to get it.
same as the ice cream from this place. Yeah, well, you're not
And
going to
guess
get the ice
what?
cream from this place if you make the workers quit.
Yeah, and guess what? There's a lot of ice cream places, especially a lot of small ice cream businesses that you can help out. So just go to a different one and come back
Yeah.
another day. Like, I mean, there's not much you could do.
And to end this little rant that we're on, as a good little, here's Ryan's PSA for the day. We are living in troubling times, as you might be aware.
Unprecedented time.
Unprecedented times. That's a good word. I'm going to write that one down. We are currently living in quite unprecedented times, and the world is changing. For those of you who are unable to use technology for some ungodly reason, please learn to use technology as soon as you possibly can. There's this new piece of technology called the internet. Most businesses and restaurants have recently been taking online ordering or call ahead ordering. If you want food from a restaurant, please assume that you need to order online. This has been a PSA from Ryan Trick. That's my PSA voice, by the way.
I think you should. I just think you should put that on for the radio station.
I'm
I
gonna
think that needs to-
record that, and
You're
I'm gonna
record
put
it.
that on because come on, people. Anyways, moving on. We got a fun. We got a nice
another
story.
good
to wrap up.
news story to wrap
Yeah.
up. Because we love the good news, as we just ranted to you how much we love it. Linds and Associates in Somerville thanked frontline medical workers on Mother's Day this weekend with deliveries of 200 individually wrapped roses to RWJ University Hospital to support the mothers that were working on duty on Mother's Day. So
Yeah.
was
For those of you who are watching, and again, for those of you who are listening, you can always come back and watch
this was
any
a video
footage
featured
that
on
we show.
NJ.com. So if
Yes.
you want to.
Yeah, we're currently showing video footage of.
So the flower shop that they got flowers from was a House of Blooms, and they
we see a woman literally bringing boxes of individually wrapped roses for people, which is fantastic.
And just telling them how much they really want to support the medical workers and any moms that are really working on this weekend, because any time to work on a holiday is rough, but especially when mothers really are seeing people pass and things like that, they really want to support them and what they're doing for our community. Any essential worker is important, and especially these frontline medical staff. So I think it was, I think it was just a really nice, sweet gesture that, again, we're talking about these good news. You're supporting a local business, which is the House of Blooms in Raritan. So if you want to support with flowers, go check them out, I guess, if you need some flowers for any occasion, because they're doing good work. But at the end of the day, we have to support any of these essential workers, and I think this was a great way. Yeah,
I think it's fantastic. And as always, one thing I do want to point out is, obviously, these times, like we said earlier, it's not, great for a lot of people, but it is good to kind of reflect on family. And it is good to reflect on family, and I think this is just a great way to do it. It's a great way to show it. Not everybody celebrates Mother's Day, but I think that even if you don't celebrate Mother's
like you
Day,
said, another good time to reflect on the good.
Yeah, it's a good time to reflect on the good and the positive. So I really got. I don't think I can end on a better note than that story.
Yeah,
I'll be honest.
I agree.
So
I agree.
Thank you very much for tuning in to this week's edition of the Morning Buzz. I have been Ryan Trick. That has been Amanda Marino.
Okay.
Go ahead. You can do it, Amanda.
I have been Amanda Marino.
And I am still Kyle Pepitone.
Thank you very much for tuning in to this week's edition of the Morning Buzz. For those of you who are interested in tuning in tomorrow, we are having some very fun, very exciting maintenance done on the station. So if you would like to tune in tomorrow edition, you will have to do it on our Facebook page. Look at that. Looping back to learn how to use technology. Our building is going to be undergoing power maintenance, so we will be only available on Facebook from 9 to 10. It's going to be a great show. I'm excited to do it.
Tomorrow, by the way.
Just tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yes. Thankfully, on Wednesday, we will be back on iHeartRadio and on terrestrial, 90.3 WMSC, Upper Montclair, New Jersey. Boom, there's the top of the hour ID. You're welcome, FCC. As always, thank you for tuning in to the Morning Buzz. Thank you for supporting our station, and we will see you guys next time. Adam Goldberg, legendary radio ninja, and Annabella Poland behind the scenes. Cue us out. I'm just going to dance like I always do at the end of the show and talk until I hear something. That's a radio joke. There it is.
You were listening to 90.3 WMSC Upper Montclair, New Jersey.